Hey, good morning to those of you out there on the West Coast. Good afternoon to those of you here on the East Coast with me. And we're going to get started today talking about the Army and opportunities. I'm super excited to talk to you about a lot of opportunities in there. I'm using this information I'll share with you today with my own customers. And so that stuff will be good. We do have some hiccups on LinkedIn. I can just tell I can tell when LinkedIn's operating properly, and I can tell when it's not working. I am curious for those of you already in here and in the chat, if you wouldn't mind letting me know, did LinkedIn let you know about the training saying, hey, it's here, go, or did you just track it, have it on your calendar or something? Did you proactively come to the training, or did you reactively come to the training? So if you throw that in the chat, that would be awesome. And then I'm going to just dive into the training because I got a lot of stuff to do. One of the big things about federal sales is following a process to success. And so I teach this 7-step process for federal revenue success that goes research, targeting, outreach. And in fact, I'll show you a diagram. Let me just pull that up and let me hide my face here. So research, targeting, outreach lead to relationships, opportunities, proposals, and sales. So if you want more sales, the way a process works is you just reverse down the path. You need to have more proposals going out the door. You need more opportunities coming into your pipeline. You need to have more relationships in order for you to be able to hear about opportunities or to chase opportunities down, learn more about your customer, or even form more teams. And then outreach is picking up the call and having those first few meetings before a relationship happens. Targeting is making sure you're finding the right people. And I talked about that yesterday's training. If you want to go back and watch that replay where I talk about how to find and build relationships with federal buyers. But what I was really trying to point out is the research. It all sort of starts with research. And that's the point I wanted to make as it relates to today's training. What I'm going to show you just comes from me constantly doing my research on the agencies I want to target. The Army is a huge target of mine. Many of my customers are 8A small businesses. The Army is the biggest spender with 8A small businesses in general. And certainly in the end of the year spending, which is coming up here in a few months, that end of the year spending, the Army dwarfs every other agency. It by almost double for the Navy and the Air Force, and then almost 10x for most of the other departments, right? And so that's a big deal. Now, I want to keep looking in, doing my research. And what I'm going to show to you comes from just research that I've talked about in other trainings. You can go learn more in detail about, but tracking on when the Army speaks, when they're out there talking to industry at big conferences, or when they do like what I'm going to show you now is an advanced planning brief to industry. This is where they come together and they talk about a lot of different stuff that's coming down the pike, a lot of different opportunities, or in their case, requirements, right? If you don't know this, they call them requirements. We call them opportunities. But they have a lot of these opportunities coming down the pike, and this is where they can share this with industry and give briefings. And they did 4 days of briefings that I'm going to try to shove into 30 minutes. So, and don't worry, afterwards, if you put in the chat that you want the slides, I'll make sure I make those available. Okay, let me just look really quick. It's funny, I get yeses, but hey, that's a good one to put in the chat too. Army rocks. Okay, LinkedIn is letting you know. I'm just having hiccups with LinkedIn, but apparently I should not knock it as much as I do. It's my favorite tool. All right, so let me go on into the training, into the information I want to share about opportunities. But before I do, actually, if you don't know who I am, my name is Neil McDonald. I'm the president of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce. I want to welcome you to my federal sales training, where I provide tips for success in the federal market. I spent 20 years in the federal market as a small business owner. And since 2018, I've been teaching people like you that government contracting is not a secret. It's just a process. When we follow a process A to Z, we have repeatable, predictable results. What I'm going to show you today is these Army opportunities, and you can see how you can have repeatable, predictable results with identifying an opportunity, getting it in your pipeline, chasing it, writing a proposal, and hopefully winning, right? And so that process really begins with identifying the opportunity, or even a little earlier, getting in and talking to the government. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to my newsletter. I might show it to you in 1 second, but subscribe to our newsletter. It's the largest GovCon newsletter on LinkedIn. And the reason we keep getting more subscribers, a couple hundred every week, is because we provide such solid information, like how do you find these Army opportunities, or what are the Army opportunities? And so a lot of good stuff. Make sure you're in there. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. If you're used to me doing training, I'm not doing slides today. Well, actually, I am doing slides, but I'm not doing the slides you think I'm doing. And I'm just going to be diving into let's get stuff done. So I think I'm good to go. Hold on one second. Got to turn off my email. Can't have that popping up while we're training. That would be embarrassing. Okay, so I think I'm good to go. And I'm coming over. First thing I just want to mention is tomorrow's training is create an effective elevator pitch. If that's something you're interested in doing, is like refreshing yours or figuring out how to even have one in the first place. If you're trying to get in the door, generally an elevator pitch, which is basically just a quick hook of what your company does, is a helpful thing. So subscribe tomorrow, or excuse me, register for tomorrow out here on my profile so you can figure out about that. I'm going to come back and talk to you about the wait list later. Let me switch over to slides. So I'm not even going to go into presentation mode because this is a working session. We're rolling up our sleeves, figuratively, and I'm going to dive into really showing you these opportunities that are out there that came from the Army. And I'm just going to bounce back and forth and show you how do I look at these, and what do I do? What's my process for triaging them? What's my process when I first see them and I decide what do I want to do next? And so I just want to go without kind of any particular plan and just show you my process in there. So one of the first things I just want to point out is what I'm going to show you. And again, I'm happy to share the slides later, is I have over 250 opportunities that in April, the Army said, hey, you guys should be tracking on these. Army has their disclaimers in their briefing decks that say none of this stuff is set in stone. It's just, we're just giving you a heads up. We're not promising anything. So keep that in mind. But I stripped out all of the slides that are not opportunities. And I have 261 slides in here. Only 4 of them are not opportunities. That's huge. So I'm going to just walk through, and I think I'm going to start by, well, the first thing I just want to show is there's 4 different groups that I'm tracking on. If you're not familiar, Army Contracting Command, or the Mission and Installation Contracting Command, MIC here, you'll see that they've got the forward offices. So in Fort Sam Houston and in Eustis, but also the 419th Contracting Support Brigade, I think it's called, and the 418th. So they're broken up and they're at different places, and I'll show you about that. But you'll see different opportunities, similar, but spread across. So just to get started, I am just going to go into this thing called Slide Sorter. I'm just going to expand everything, and we'll start looking at this. And what I'm going to do is just scroll down until I see one that's interesting. But as I scroll, I just want you to see the type of opportunities that are in here, the differences that are in here. There's opportunities that are straight up task order or definitive contracts. There's like IDIQs like this one here, which is a combined construction contract. Actually, I might just pull that up for the fun of it to start. So this one here, right? You can see that it's expiring next year. Let me pull that up one second, make it a little bit bigger just to show you some stuff. If I set the standard here, the Army uses a template when they do these APBIs. And so you can see who are they supporting. These slides are being shared by the contracting office, the contracting command, et cetera, but it's the contracting office. Well, who's the actual program office or the program command? So the mission partner, IMCOM here, they're the program office. And in fact, you can probably go deeper down and find a specific program office within that command. But so you're listing out the mission partner, because it's not Fort Eustis or somebody. The next thing is you can see a small business. So there's a lot of small business professionals out there tied to all these. And so every one of these slides has an email that you can reach out and say, I'd like to learn more. Can we talk? And then they break it into this requirement description that's out there. So here you can see, the contractor is going to provide real property repair and construction to some other stuff, right? What I like about this is telling me this is not really new construction. This is repair and construction, maybe minor construction, right? And I'm reaching. Construction is not my world. But the reason I say this is because we had a customer who had been doing construction, and they made it really clear to us, look, we don't do new buildings. We do all that continuous maintenance that goes on, that type of construction, so property repair, et cetera. I'm like, okay, this might be a fit for them. And then as you come down, they list the forecast first and then the current contract. I actually wish it was reversed, because if you come down to the current contract and we go to the bottom really quick, I can see that, they're putting in that the value of that IDIQ was 245 million. I'm assuming this is a multiple award contract. So more than just one company will have it. As you can see right here in the incumbents, it lists out who won it last time, right? And then here are all their contract award numbers. And I'll show you in a little bit how to chase that down. It has period of performance. This is one of the big things I look for. If I'm building a pipeline and I'm trying to win opportunities for this year, that's one thing. If I'm trying to win opportunities for 2025 revenue, then I'm looking at sales in the next 6-8 months or something. But some of these I'm looking out where they expire in 26 and 27 perhaps. And that's an earlier heads up, which is great. So I really want to track on the period of performance, or that ordering period, because that basically tells me when's the soonest we can start getting money off of that, basically. And then set asides are awesome, right? If we find ones that fit in, and you'll see ones that I push. Right here is the one I hate. Lowest price, technically acceptable. I hate that. It's like it's crazy. And then the NAICS code, right? So they all follow this format. Let me come back to my slide sorter. So I'm going to come down. You can see that it's got construction. It's got food services in here. More construction, a lot of different things. Some of these constructions, they then start sliding into these job orders. I'm going to skip that for today, but come down into, here's a really specific one, roofing, for companies that that's what you do. This is why we tell you have a niche. When you have a niche, there's generally something out there you can track on. And so I'm looking at this stuff. It's all interesting. For a lot of my customers, things I'm seeing already will pop my eye. But let's pull up this IT support services. So if I pull this one up, and I'm looking at here, actually, I might back up for 1 second just to do it this way, because I can cut and paste here. I can't cut and paste when I present, and I want to go show you what I do with this one. So here again, the medical comm, they're the office, Fort Sam, Houston. Here's that email. But here's the work I'm looking for, right? It's what they're looking for. Provide technical support. And as I look in here, it gives me a general idea what's in the type of work. I'm like, well, I think that fits with us. We can do network management, customer support. This is all pretty basic level 1, level 2 IT support to me, right? And then right here, I'm looking at the incumbent's numbers, et cetera, and it's an 8A competitive. That instantly catches my eye. I told you the Army is one of the biggest agencies or departments awarding to 8A firms by far. And I have multiple customers who do it. They might be interested in this. And so it catches my eye. I'm looking at this. And so what I would do is come in and go, well, I'm curious on this company, Tuvely. So let's just copy that. I want to show you what I do when I see things like this, because I can do quick triages. So if I come over here, I would go to DSBS. It was an 8A set aside. So I want to come down here to the bottom of dsbs.sba.gov, where all small businesses are registered. And I'm going to put that company name in here. And while that's happening, I'm curious about the award. So I'm going to grab this detail here. And that's just basically the contract number. It's a PIID number. So I'm going to come back into here, though, into FPDS. So fpds.gov. If you're not familiar, get familiar with these tools. They're great tools. But I'm going to come in here. So I want to research the competitor for a second. And I'm like, this is cool. It's $5 million. It's all looking pretty good so far. And if I click in on view and I want to see the item, I see the first piece of gem that I like. I'm always looking for a point of contact I can reach out to. So now I have the small business point of contact right here. And by the way, I just stripped out their names, but they're in there and you can find them. But I have the small business professional. Now over here, I have the contracting officer. And this person did something recently, so I can reach out. I can find their phone number if I want to make a call. And then as I come down, I can get a quick snapshot of the opportunity just looking. It's like, okay, 15 million. It looks like they're going to be on track to be able to do that with what they're spending. So this stuff is all kind of good. And then I look a little bit for right here. You see this this part here. Remember I said I want to look for a program office. Well, this funding office name generally is the program office. And so it's Joint Health Services Agency. I don't even know what that is actually. And so as much as I know, there's a ton I don't know, but now I have a program office I can begin to pursue and figure out. So now I just, in a couple of seconds, got a lot of good key information that I can find. Let me go back to, I'm looking here and I can see that this is an SBA certified company is what they said. I actually saw that it was there. Labor support, looks like maybe National Capital Reason, but I come in here and see it was 8A competed. It was on a GWAC, so that's an interesting one. I got to go figure out what GWAC it was on. That's just a contract vehicles. When it says here that it's on a GWAC, there's only a few of them, so our ability to chase that down is pretty simple. Not today's training though, but I'm going to come back. One more thing, right? So I looked at that opportunity. I'm chasing down the details of the opportunity, trying to find some points of contact. And then I'm also trying to research the incumbent. So here I can click on these guys. And when I come in, I can scroll down and I can see that they are no longer an 8A. They're not an 8A company. And so when I see that, I wonder why. And my answer is down here because, one second, the NAICS code is 541542. You see that at the bottom? If I see that and I come over here and I look at 541, they don't even have it on there. So, by the way, that's something telling. You don't have to have a NAICS code in SAM. There's no rule that says it has to be in there for you to go after an award, but many contracting officers don't know that. Like sometimes they think it has to be in there. But the reason it's really important is because you want that NAICS code in to make it easy on the contracting officer or whoever to verify that you're a small business. So here, this company is not a small. So what this tells me, and let me go ahead and close these guys really quick. I'm going to clean this up so I can come back to it in a minute. And DSBS. Okay, let me come back. So what this is telling me is that this opportunity looks good to me on first blush, right? So it's an unqualified. I'm about to qualify it some more. But it's a really good opportunity that I want to put into my pipeline. And I just learned certain things. And one of the things I learned, though, is that the incumbent can't compete for it. Now, they are an A and C, so I'm pretty positive they're going to find a way to do it. But I'm going to reach out to them and say, hey, is there room for me to go with you? But since I know it was a competitive 8A set aside, then I can go out. You remember how one of those opportunities up above, it said lowest price technically acceptable. Well, here, previous source selection is negotiated. And so that's given me an idea that they're looking on value and they place a lot of importance on value and past performance, et cetera, and then price as well. So this looks good, right? This is kind of how I look at these opportunities. And as I come down, I can start seeing a couple of others that are in here. So if I come down and look at support services that are in there, I'm looking for ones. The way I triage stuff, personally, what I like to do is I come down and just start trying to mark things. So depending on whether I see it in a spreadsheet or somewhere else, I might sit there and just right click on this. And it's funny, it's not letting me do it here. Let me see if I can do it here really quick. So if I'm on this slide, I can say, let's just call it, 5 stars, right? I can just give myself a comment and put it in as I'm reviewing these. And, I showed you the slide sorter, but I could just come out here and start scrolling down, right? I'm coming down, I'm looking at this one, I'm looking at the next one. By the way, it's fun. Some of these people left their information in. And so you have names and contact information you can get if you didn't have it before. If I do the notes, that's another way you can see it. Here's the contracting officer is Ralph Bowie, right? I'd be curious actually if it plays out exactly that way over on FPDS. But make sure 2 things. You clean up your own documents before you send them to somebody. And the other is that there's a lot of information in here that they just forget sometimes. So if I come in here, I just type that one. Let's see if it's Ralph Bowie. Okay, so I don't see him, but I have 2 other people, right, that are contracting officers. And I got this item from this help desk IT operations and cybersecurity services. Right here at the bottom in the notes section, I noticed this person in March, Ralph Bowie. So I can chase them down. And then here's Ombre Wallich. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it correctly. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 names, not including the small business professional. If I like this opportunity, I now have 4 or 5 names that I could pursue to get more information, try to get a meeting, etc. Not to mention pursuing the incumbent. So let me turn this off. Oh, what I was trying to say though is I do my own comments. I might sit there and say, let me click on the slide again and say, 5 stars again, or I could put 4 stars or whatever. But when I put that later on, I can come back and say, let me just review my comments, and I can go through. I think it's like right here. I can go through here and say, just jump to the next comment, jump to the next comment. So if I come up here, let's see if this works the way I want, but I could jump down, boom, I went right to slide 25, right? If I'm going to pass to a colleague, I could say, hey, Joe, take a look at these. I marked the ones I think are a fit for us. So that's just a tip for how I go through this, and I'm measuring each one of these opportunities. Okay, so I want to show you a lot more. Let me just change this view again. I want to show you some more tips. Before I do, let me come back here. Let me clean up this guy. Let me clean up that person or that one. I just wanted to tell you, though, something we're really excited about is we've got a new SaaS product coming out designed to sit there and help you build relationships with federal buyers, to build relationships with teammates who want to work with you, and to identify, respond, and pursue opportunities that you should be winning, like the ones you're seeing in here. So we're super excited to do that. If it's something you're interested in learning about when we release it, then come join the wait list. It's govconinabox.com, govconinabox.com. So maybe somebody would be nice enough to throw that in the chat. Okay, so let me come back to this. So I'm scrolling through this, and I'm trying to show you all these opportunities, and I'm only on 25, but I want to show you another way that I would begin to try to find opportunities. And so let me go back here and just try it completely from the top. So I know I want to do administrative support services. I can come through here and just do a Control F and search on the NAICS code to start, right? I like browsing all 200 opportunities. I don't want to miss a one, but sometimes I can accelerate the process by jumping down. So if I say find next, I can see slide 28. I missed this one, but it's communication services. Now, my customer is an admin support services, so I need to look at this requirement. Let me zoom out here. Let me close that a little bit to give me a little bit more. So the contractor shall provide business rules and operations support, communication research, analysis and evaluation, communication planning, communication product development. So this seems like it's all in a like a public affairs office or maybe even a PMO. Army outreach support, professional development and training, exhibit management. So they're actually talking about a lot. And I had a contract similar to this at Homeland Security. So I had a contract in there that was doing enterprise architecture, but there was this whole CLIN line item, basically a task area around communication. So I can look at this. And like I showed you before, I can mark it and move forward. Whenever I'm doing searching, I'm always going to get 2 hits, the current labor category or NAICS code and the next one. So I'm going to keep coming down. Here's another one. This one says administrative support services, but it's R&D or something. Provide housing facility support in the area. So here's an interesting thing. I don't understand how this is really in this NAICS code. So it's something for you to consider. Don't always search on NAICS codes, because if you do this type of work, but you use a different NAICS, you don't want to miss it. But I don't like this one, right? So I commented on the other one, 5 stars. This one, I don't do anything on this one because I'll go back and delete all the slides that have no comments. So then I come through again, administrative support services. Could I have a better title than this one, right? So I'm going to go through this exercise again, and you can see me doing this over and over again as we go down. But this one, let me just show you again. It's a woman-owned small business. My customer is a woman-owned small business that does administrative support services. I want this contract for them. And it's even my favorite. It's a firm fixed price contract, meaning it's sitting right around $4 million, right? So I can take a look at this company, and everything I'm showing you is public. So all this information sits out there, but I can come in, look at this opportunity. And if I bring it up, and let me just sort by date last signed. So these are just updates whenever you see 0. So I'm going to come down here. Here it is. I'm going to pull this up, and I can see that it's an actual short contract. It looks like it's a 2-year period of performance from 2023, August 23 to basically August 2025, right? So this is a really cool contract, a couple of $1 million a year. And so this is something they will probably go after. I can see, they're an 8A company, they're a woman-owned company. The looking for was this set aside they said woman owned, and I'm just making sure there was no, that it wasn't done anything else. Here you go. And so remember, I found the contracting shop. That's pretty easy because that whole slide deck is contracting. Well, here I can find that it's for the 38th Battalion headquarters. It's like, okay, I don't know who that is, but I'm going to be able to go learn about it. And the same information up here, right here, I don't know if this is like a recruiting command, but I can put together this information in the funding office with that information I found down below about the 18th or 38th or whatever it was that I said. And I start putting together pictures. This is how I start building a pipeline that this thing's starting in August 2025. So if I start putting it in the pipeline, clearly I'm way ahead of the schedule, but I can start getting in there. I can find out whether it makes any sense to be able to team up with this company. Just one quick thing I want to show you is like right here, I might look at this company, go to DSBS really quick, put it in here. What I'm looking for is, well, when did they expire, come out of 8A? They're not in 8A, and something's wrong. This is just odd that they're not in there. I feel like DSBS is having problems with their 8A program information. So I don't want to check that right now, but you see how I follow it through on that pattern. So anyways, I'm running out of time here. I ran out of time, but this deck, if you want me to share it, put Army Rocks in the chat. If I see enough people do that, I will make sure I put this deck out for everybody. And then, but then come down here and start scrolling through. This idea of finding opportunities, it just takes you having the patience to go through a lot of different opportunities. Don't forget to register for tomorrow's training. Let me just turn this off. And for all of us, just remember, as you go forward and you're trying to build your pipeline, as you're trying to look at opportunities, you have that 7-step process, right? Government contracting is not a secret. It's just a process. The process begins with research. When you do research, then you can do targeting, how I showed you. I was grabbing 5 people's names, etc. And then from those 5 people's names you're able to move forward to reaching out to them, talking to them, see if you can build a relationship. And if you start early enough, you're going to be able to start having a lot more success, right? I'm not trying to address your immediate financial needs in the next 3 or 4 months, right? There's a different approach or process for that. But here, when you start looking out at 2025 and 2026, this is planning out. This is what the largest do, and we smalls can do it just on a much smaller scale, but we can do this and have that success that you want year after year growth. So, okay, again, remember, government contracting, it is not a secret. It's just a process. Part of the process is ending on time. I'm 3 minutes early. I'm happy. I will see you in the next training.